go.
Welcome back. Once again, Real People, Real Life, Wichita, Kansas, America.
America.
Indeed, yes.
So, okay. A few shows back, we were all kind of laughing about a guy in Topeka that wanted a new dress code.
Oh, yeah.
And it was, specifically towards women.
Mm-hmm.
You noticed that he kind of...
Withdrew that?
Yeah, he backwalked.
He backtracked quickly.
Yeah, he decided that probably wasn't a good idea after all. So I guess we get to save ourselves a trip going to Topeka to watch our friend David in drag.
I know. I
was so
I was really looking forward to that.
Should do it anyway.
I think so. Just
Well, don't tempt him because he probably will. So that
David.
Yeah, hi, David.
Do it anyway.
Go ahead and do it. Just let us know when because we'd like to watch. Yeah, do it. And then I thought it was, so many interesting things. Go check out, if you get a chance, it's the National Hemp Association. I know I have it on my personal page, and I'll try to get it up on the Facebook page too, but they have started off their official tour for this legislative season. They recently left Denver, Colorado, and of course they're going to be in Iowa for the caucus. But if you click on their site on Facebook, and then it'll point you to a direction where you can click on your state, and it will tell you what the House bills are that they are aware of, and or Senate bills for your state.
Right.
And I did find that they were right on the mark with the bills here in Kansas. So again, that is National Hemp Association, and I will grab that again real quick.
I was going to say, if you're going to our Facebook page to look for it, isn't there a picture? It looks almost like a food truck or something.
Yeah, it does.
So you can just click on that post and it should be.
Yeah, and we'll make sure that we get that over there. There's never enough time to get everything in a show that we always want to. It never fails. Would you not agree?
Yeah, I agree.
I agree, right? So, we need to be sure and let folks know that they can always go to the Facebook page.
Oh, totally. Real
Give the
People, Real
page a
Life
like.
on Facebook.
The shows are there. Go to the website, and we are still adding more and more to that every day. Thank you,
Absolutely.
Jen, for that.
Yeah, thank you.
Because that's a lot of work.
It's just time consuming if I haven't been on the show. Otherwise, it's not that bad.
It's not too bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I got to fit it in around my crazy life.
Yeah. I think we all have that crazy life thing. Well, so when this coffee with a cop came up, I think it's funny. Here it was on a Sunday. Who's working? Of course, me. Anyway, and he was wanting to thank all the different media people here in Wichita, and so I said, "Holy moly! Here's my number. Give me a call." And he goes, "Okay, I'm going to call you while I'm walking my dog." I'm like, "Cool." Anyway, so it's windy out, and he's got apparently. I go, "What kind of dog you got?" He goes, "I got one big bad pit bull." I'm like, "Oh, cool. Does he walk really well for you?" And he goes, "Yeah, pretty much until he sees a squirrel or a cat." I'm like, "Well, let's make this short then," And he was really totally cool, dude. Super nice. So. One of the reasons that he reached out to us was because he wants more than a 3-minute snippet.
Oh, yeah.
But we'll give him 12 minutes.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Or even 24. And he's going to see, and this is not confirmed yet, and I know we had talked about having our new
Police chief.
chief of police on, but I think that they may be coming together. Okay, so that's another show that's in the works. So Coffee with a Cop is in the works.
Good.
There's another story coming up that's a veterans issue. And we will be joined by some way awesome Marines.
Ooh.
And I think you guys are familiar with the water problems going on currently in Flint.
Yes.
Yes.
Wait until you hear from this Marine and the water problems that have been going on at a Marine facility here in the United States that has affected not just the servicemen, but their husbands, their wives, generations later, their children, through birth defects.
Horrible.
Then, of course,
Marine?
Yes.
so we'll be having a bunch of Marines coming in here pretty soon. And then, of course, we're waiting for a city council member to come back.
Yes, we are. We're looking forward to that.
I can't wait to get her on because that ties back into the huge project that you're working on still.
The Rudy thing.
Yep, the love story. So who was recently in town here a while back?
Friday, so we did an interview with Sinbad. It's
Yeah.
actually the longest interview I've ever done. It was like 45 minutes.
Are you serious?
Really cool. That never happens. I mean, that rarely happens with people like that. But it was pretty cool. And we had he and Rudy sit down. He was just freaking out to see Rudy.
I bet.
And basically owes his music and funk
To Rudy.
Yeah.
to Rudy. for being.
What did Rudy? What did
That's
Rudy
what they were
do when
saying.
he said that?
Well, you know, Rudy's pretty mellow.
Yeah, I know, right?
I mean, well, the cool thing that came out of this is that Sinbad had so much fun. It looks like he's going to be. Well, they're getting the band back together.
Right.
The band was kind of back together, but it looks like Sinbad's going to be coming here this spring, and they're going to do a series of concerts.
That's why we want to.
Trying to work with. I mean, I think we have initial contact with Wichita Festivals to do a Riverfest thing, which would be cool. So Rudy and Sinbad live.
That would be amazing at the River.
Can we tie in? You know, that's why we have the city councilwoman coming on. Is that possible that we can tie in that? You know, Wichita Appreciation.
Asking
why not?
for Rudy Love Month.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Okay, because if they're going to be here performing, I mean, that would be the cool way to do it, I think.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. I mean, I think he's done with his tour here in a few months, and then they'll get back together and start working on some material.
Cool.
He's pretty darn excited about that.
Well, the Benders film is coming up, you know.
Oh, that's going to be.
By the time this show airs, it'll actually be past that point.
Yeah, it's not going to be an official
Right.
Kansas premiere.
No.
It's more like for people who worked on the film.
Right.
And then, but I think the official Kansas premiere is going to be in Junction City at the Opera House.
Oh, right on.
Really awesome.
Did you see where Netflix put out a big deal that they're going to be adding additional funding to indie films and the Sundance films and all that? I was like, oh, right on. Good for you, Netflix.
Yeah. Netflix and Amazon really took it to the big.
Took it to the next level, I
Well, they
think.
took it to the big film producers at Sundance this year. Like,
Right.
outbid them by millions and millions of dollars compared to what the former high, I think, for a film coming out of Sundance was $3 million last year. This year, Birth of the Nation, I think, sold for 17.
Oh, wow.
So that's a massive difference just for the distribution rights.
Right.
So that's pretty good.
That's awesome.
Pretty good, pretty exciting. So we'll just keep plugging along doing what we're doing, then get Rudy's film out there.
Remember us when you get the big time.
Yeah.
Well, I'm doing this also for not-for-profit as well.
Right.
Just paid to be able to afford to do it, but the back end we're trying to make it so and this is such a crapshoot with any film that comes out, but should the thing make any money, it's going to go into a trust fund for Rudy and the family, because with all the money that they've lost in the past, it's almost hopeless that they're ever going to get
It's only fair.
I think it's only fair.
Whatever you can make.
We're trying to
make it.
generate new money for him, that by, not only by the film, but also by new music coming out, new interest in his old music.
Right.
And so that he can, get out there and make decent money by
Right.
performing again, and not for,
It's right. And gosh, I mean, I don't know. To me, that goes back to an article that this was actually written by, refresh me, Landis.
I don't pronounce names.
I know I'm
But he is
butchering
a
his name bad.
professor at WSU. He's used to be an official with a former governor's office. And so the guy knows his stuff. He's Republican.
Right.
He has nothing bad to say about Republicans in general. But he blasts the Brownback administration and a horrible job they've done administrating in Kansas.
Well,
Between tax cuts and
you can go and check out the news source on this. It was through Kansas.com.
It was an op-ed in the Wichita Eagle.
Yeah, it was an op-ed too. But I'll just kind of read you this little bit of a tidbit here. As administrative incompetence mounts, Kansas taxpayers foot the bills, but the real losers are the state's most vulnerable residents and members of the public whose health, and safety depends on the delivery of high-quality public services every day. That is too high a price to pay. And then he goes into check it out. Again, I can put this on the page too. But this is a Republican, and when you read the rest of this and what he has to say about our current governor and some of the policies and where we are at fiscally speaking, it'll scare the poop out of you.
Oh, this guy was an official at the state level. He knows what he's talking about.
Well, I think that the name we do not say, I think he's lost even his followers. A lot of them don't support him anymore.
Right. Yeah.
I can't really find anyone who voted for him.
I still haven't. But anyway, have you? I mean,
I'm serious.
Well, we voted for a good friend of ours on the show here.
I know, right?
Keen number. Hi, Keen.
Yeah, hi, Keen. We love you. We miss you. We want you back.
We miss you. We want you to run.
So yeah, I do want you guys to check that out. Some of the other shows that we're also working on, we've been asked to bring the folks with Common Core
Yes.
back.
Good.
Yeah. So we're working on getting that one scheduled, and then we're getting the food trucks. What's going on with that?
Yeah, well, Mr. Natural Soul Kitchen was on with us as part of one of the earlier shows, and he has a permanent location, but they're also building out on it, so they're going to have 6 trucks, 5 of which are permanent. One's going to rotate out. They're going to have all new trucks, and then the rotating one will bring in and incorporate some of the older trucks that have been around. So
Sweet.
he wants us to come out and film, and he said he'll make sure everybody's on site, and we'll have food to show everybody.
Oh,
I always love it. when
already
there's
our
food.
favorite guest of the year. Oh, yeah.
Truck.
Oh man, I'm so with you on that. So,
Bribery works.
we got a lot of stuff that we're trying to get to, and again, if there's something that's bugging you, or there's a special event coming up, please let us know.
Yeah.
We find this happening all the time, and you've said it 1,000 times, Vasa. There's so many things going on.
But for some reason, the word doesn't get out, until after the fact, and then everybody's like, well, why didn't I hear about that?
Right.
So that's what we're trying to do.
If you have an event, let us know, on our
Get it out.
Facebook, let us know on our website. We're starting to put links out for the different events that are coming. I'd like to see more of those events. So if you have an event coming, whether it's a for-profit or not-for-profit, it doesn't matter to me. We want to know.
Give us some feedback on our webpage.
Yeah, exactly. And if there's a topic that you want us to take on, let us know on that too.
Or if you have a complaint.
Yeah, if you have a complaint, bring it on too. We're trying to get everybody what they want, basically, and that's a really hard thing to do these days in the media.
Yep.
I think it's a hard thing to do. Period.
Oh, yeah.
You're always going to have somebody about something.
Of course.
Tis the season. All right, it's a political year. What can I tell you? We'll be right back. Real people, real life. Here we go once again. Welcome back. Real people, real life. Wichita, Kansas.
America!
Okay, yeah. Erin!
Hey!
Hey!
We got
We
Erica.
love you. And we know that you have a lot of fans here in Wichita, Kansas, America. You are one brave lady.
Oh, yeah.
And I would say that most people would agree with that.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you. I don't know if I'm brave or just egotistical. I have no idea.
Whichever
It all
is
works.
working.
It all works. And one of the reasons we wanted you to come on was for one of the topics was, autism. We wanted to talk about that. We had you on and we discussed that before, and then we also discussed, I think, another segment.
It was the bull.
Yeah, you came back for
I
a
came back.
Yeah, she comes back to be on the bullying show and gets bullied.
I don't consider that.
No, I don't think she got bullied. I think
I
she
think
got
I held my own.
approached.
I think she kind of puts me
Yes,
in
you
place
did
real
help her
quick.
out.
But let me tell you something. I honestly hold no hard feelings against him. I understand the stance he was coming from, and I also understand that that is how a lot of people, the older generation, think. And quite frankly, I would love in a neutral place to actually bring maybe my own mother and maybe someone who is from his generation to talk to him, because maybe that's going to get through to him.
Oh,
and I'd love to meet him. Here's the thing: if we don't believe that people can change their thought, then
No,
what
I do
point
believe
is
that they
there?
can. I just know Joe.
Won't.
I just know Joe. And
Well, if he has to come back and be civilized, I am more than willing to have a discussion with him again. I just want to put that out there.
Consider yourself challenged.
Okay.
no,
Yeah.
do not
And-
consider
and,
yourself challenged.
That's going to happen about as fast as legal cannabis in the state of Kansas.
Okay. Wait a minute. Let's be optimistic about that.
Let us be.
Yeah, in the next decade. Okay.
Oh.
Anyway, yeah. Okay, so when we stay kind of focused, I'm going to let you kind of.
Okay, yeah, that'd be great.
You two both have personal experience
yes.
with autism. So,
So let
fire
me lay
away.
that out a little bit. I have a daughter with autism, and
I have a son with autism.
a son with autism, and Erin here has autism as well. But I would like you to tell us a little bit more about your diagnosis and when what happened, and that kind of thing.
I was 5 years old when I was diagnosed. However, we started seeing signs as early as 3 years old, and it was actually I believe it was a I guess it was a preschool teacher who told my mother, you might want to get her tested because something's not quite right here.
What were those signs? Do you mind?
I was very much attached to my brother, and I didn't like other children. If my brother went on my side, I would like freak out, and it was, kind of hindering his education, and it wasn't good for him. And there was also a couple other things, just, social. It was mainly just social stuff, because when you're a young kid, you're not, the educational signs weren't there yet. It was just mainly social stuff. So we got tested. I got tested when I was 5, and surprise! Although my mother,
Not surprised.
no, my mother knew that something was up. She knew that I was different. I was a different child. I wasn't like her other kids, and she was like, okay, thank God, we have an answer. Yeah. And she's like, now what do we do next? Like, she took it like a freaking pro. Yeah. She's amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mom.
Yeah.
I love you. She's actually coming back from a cruise today. So I'm picking her up and I get to see her. So.
I'm so sad and happy for her.
I know, right?
Sad and jealous.
I'm jealous and happy. I'm happy.
We're jelly. That's it. Yeah.
Having to end her cruise.
No, she misses her family. She's ready to come home.
Yeah. And Erin, how old are you now?
I am 22 years old now. And maybe we should make introductions to this kid over here.
Yeah.
Yeah, because this is an important factor in the
I
story.
think this is so cool. Congratulations.
You stay self.
Well, I'm Jared, and I'm Erin's fiance.
Yay.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank
We
you.
saw that and I was like dancing up and
It
down.
gives me so much hope,
It does. Well, and that's what Foster and I were talking about earlier, and I had talked to you a little bit before you came on the show, that one of the things we want to kind of outline today is that there is hope.
Absolutely.
There is a lot of negative information about autism, about parenting kids with autism, and believe me, I know, I live it every day, and there are the negatives and the positives.
right?
But I think Erin really, for us anyway, is the
It's a
epitome.
success story.
You are the epitome of the.
You're the goal.
for us.
I'm the goal.
You're the goal.
Oh, man. If I'm the goal, I apologize.
No, we're thanking you big time for being quite the front runner.
I try.
We are the presidents of
Yes.
your fan club.
Exactly.
We are. Definitely.
Yeah.
So once your mother found out what was going on, and she, like you said, took it right on board, just like I know these two ladies do right now with their children. How did that, what were some of the things that you kind of went through?
Well, I mean, I was so young, so quite frankly, I don't remember, a lot of that, and I'm just going to recount what I've been told to the best of my ability. But, I mean, I got a paraprofessional. I was put in Goddard in a special education program and let me tell you, this is how much we didn't know about autism back in, the 90s. At the time, Sedgwick, the little city, did not have a special education room.
Right.
All the kids had to be bussed out to, Goddard. And so that's what happened with me. But it was good. But, they worked with us on that. And later on, because I was one of the first kids to have, a diagnosis in the town, we ended up, when I was, in 3rd grade, getting that special education room and getting paraprofessionals in there. And it was so exciting because I went back and visited my small town recently, and I talked to the woman that is still there, who started the special education program. She's still there, and she said that she always wondered what happened to me. Because I was the first of the
I bet
class.
she's so happy to hear from you and to see you successful.
She was freaking thrilled. She's like,
I
"You're in
bet.
college, really?" We didn't, because they didn't know. They had no idea what was going to happen to me. Nobody did.
I mean, you never can tell, just like we were talking about. No.
Yes.
Anyway.
Yeah, so you're in college. You just brought that up.
I graduated. I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done. I
Tell
know.
me she's not the goal.
I know.
Exactly.
I have a creative writing major and a theater minor. I did it debt-free, and it was really hard. But, I mean, at one time I was working 3 jobs to make it happen, and I made a lot of sacrifices. I didn't do the dorm life. I didn't get to, attend all of the WCU activities and that I wish I could have. But at the same time, I don't have to worry about debt ever. So, not from the
right?
school. But
Awesome.
I don't owe a penny to anyone. So, which I'm very, very proud of. My family also worked extremely hard to make that happen to me. My mom was working, helping me pay. I was working. We were doing scholarships. I mean, I was very lucky.
Yeah. Well, so tell us a little bit about what the supports are like in college versus maybe high school, because we're familiar as parents with IEPs, which is individualized education plans, which is what happens if your child has a diagnosis or they are,
Correct.
term or they're deemed necessary.
Does that follow you?
Let's put it this way: the IEP is supposed to.
Okay.
Let's put it that way. I mean, you really have to advocate for yourself more. I found that in high school, it was a little bit easier to get the help I needed. But in college, I am finding that it's a little bit more difficult because resources are not as abundant because cutbacks. But let's not get involved with Brown Pakistan right now. Let's talk about that. Yes,
I can't find one that voted for him.
I know, right? And then you throw the shade. If you throw the education in the same sentence with his name, it just doesn't work around. Oh yeah, everybody's got that.
Well, no, he actually works. Go ahead, baby. Tell me where you work.
I work for Exploration Place, the local science museum.
Oh, nice.
So I do see a lot of students and teachers come through.
Okay.
And they're all
They are, the education system is having difficulties.
Yeah.
To the point that people are booking it out of this state.
They're
Well, I was just going to say, what is that? How are you seeing that difference at work?
Well, for one thing, Exploration Place is the science programming for many districts in the state.
Right.
We are sending our educators out on a daily basis because the funding is not there to have an on-site science teacher.
What?
Wow.
Yeah. How terrifying is that? Yeah.
Very.
You've got to be kidding me.
No.
At what grade level is this taking place?
It's largely elementary school,
This is ridiculous.
Crazy.
so the fundamentals are
Not even being
we're having
presented.
to fill in that.
Well, I think we found your topic for your next show.
Yes, I think we did.
Education.
Bring
You
this
start
kid
talking
back.
Education.
I've got better people to talk to, or for you guys to talk to than that. So
Oh, bring them on. We'll be.
Yeah, hook us up, Jared.
Yeah.
So
do.
I wanted to
Back
bring
to
this
your
up.
story.
Well, I wanted to bring this up. I was watching you guys while we were taping our first segment, and you guys were doing sign language.
Yes.
And is that something that you both learned previously, or tell me about that?
Or did you teach him?
Well, no, he actually taught me. The sign language thing is a whole other story that we can get into another day. But I learned in college, and I just learned the past. Like I took 16-week classes, like just slammed into it, and they focus a lot on like social cue stuff, and so on that part I'm screwed. But it's really great just to like get a basic thing across, like a basic need or want. Which is why a lot of autistic children
I was going to say,
are using sign language, but they can't get the emotive stuff so much. But if a little girl who's nonverbal is
well, that's what Julia started with, was signing. So.
but you can do stuff like I want water, and it works.
And they understand that.
Water. Yes.
Yeah.
So
That's great.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Yeah, it caught my eye because my daughter and I practiced it a little bit when she was younger, and I never really followed through with it. But we still do a lot of just intuitive motioning.
Right. Julius will still refer back to whenever he's done with something, you'll see him like, I'm done.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, he'll ask for help still the same old way. But, you know, we don't use signing anymore, but it was a real helpful tool.
Yeah,
You know,
it's so cool.
when we come back here, because I know we need to take a break, but when we come back, I do want to continue with the conversation about autism, some of the things that helped you, some of the people that are available for help. And we do have somebody that kind of specializes along those lines and something else that we have as our spotlight individual. But we need to take a quick break. We'll be back. Real People, Real Life. Welcome back once again, Real People, Real Life, and we're going to kind of continue on with our topic today, which is autism. And again, I want to make sure and thank Erin and Jared. A happy little couple. I'm so proud of you guys. You had brought some stuff up earlier, and you kind of filled in the gap on that. Going from being diagnosed at an early age to the school when it came to grade school, junior high, high school, then on to college. Of those periods throughout your life, preschool, grade school, junior high, high school, college, which in those areas did you seem to learn the most, change the most, and become more determined to be where you are now, which is such a success story? It's amazing.
I was always really determined. My mother my mother can even tell you I was always stubborn as heck to kind of do what I needed to do or what I wanted to do.
I think that's a common behavior in autism.
Absolutely, and I was always ambitious. I learned so much in intermediate school, middle school, high school, educationally, and
but social is where they lack,
Social
right?
is where
So
we
where
lack.
did you learn the most of that at?
actually doing social working with the public school. That's where I learned a lot of that, and but where I really came into my own socially was definitely in college. And I don't think it's because, this is going to sound, again, kind of egotistical a little bit, but I don't think it was because of me that I wasn't socially fitting in. It was just the high school thing. If you weren't...
High school is always brutal, honey.
High school is so brutal. It's so brutal. But socially, I came into my own in college because I realized, wait a minute, I'm in this place where, number one, people are more educated. And they're used to seeing other cultures. Where I grew up in Goddard, which had a school with mostly just, it wasn't
I'm not going to lie, I love the Goddard school system. My daughter's part of it, and I would never remove her from it. They're wonderful.
They are wonderful, but there's not a lot of different cultures that go to that school.
No, there are not.
They're not. So that's why with college, I think people were just saying, we're used to seeing different, I guess, aspects of humanity. And so when I plopped into this school and I found friends with the same common interests, they were like, oh no. You know, this is what happens when you're on television. The beauty of seeing behind the scenes. But, it was definitely a culture I just kind of grew into myself because I think people were used to seeing people that were different. That's what it really came down to. And that's where I started dating.
That's when you started dating?
Was in college. No one wanted to date me in high school. It was awful. Like, in fact, I one time overheard a conversation where a boy was telling his friends, I think I want to ask Aaron out, and they laughed at him for wanting to ask me out.
Are you serious?
Yeah, high school.
And I heard I heard the most vile, horrible things I probably can't say on television.
Right.
So,
High
it was
school
so sad.
though.
It was sad.
And my daughter also graduated from Goddard. But high school is brutal. I mean, I don't know that it matters.
Well, no, and I think if anybody goes back and watches that last show you were on, I think you and my daughter can both attest to high school. High school's bad for normal people.
When you say normal.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you know what? That's why I said in air quotes.
Yeah. It's bad for normal people. It is brutal. If you are
Exactly.
different in any
It is.
way where you can't be put into a box. But you know what? Here's what I want to say to everyone. High school, social stuff doesn't matter. As soon as you are graduated, it doesn't matter where you are in the social chain. It doesn't matter. Like, when I got into college, I had guys beating down my door to, date me. Segue into this. Ironically enough, we actually went to the same school.
Yeah.
We never said a word to each other.
Yeah,
Yes, but I knew who he was.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. And I graduated in 2011. We never spoke. Ever. Isn't that hilarious?
That is so cute.
Which I'm glad that we didn't, though, because I was a different person.
And you weren't ready.
Yeah,
Everything happens for a
absolutely
reason.
not. I wasn't ready. But we have been dating now for about, it's been 3 years.
Yeah, 3 years. And our anniversary was
So you
a
guys
couple
just
days ago.
met.
I saw that.
We met 3 days, 3 years ago, and then pretty much our relationship is just like any other
So
relationship.
you guys fight is what you're saying.
We actually really don't fight a lot.
I believe you don't.
Not that much.
So what you're saying is he doesn't pick up the socks, and you have to go home and yell at him.
No, he's actually really neat.
Okay, all right.
He's awesome. And here's he can cook. He can clean. He's actually an amazing cook. And we moved into an apartment in October, and it's been great. And I actually really enjoy it. I know some people struggle. Even anyone who doesn't have disability struggles with kind of being on your own and being an adult. But I'm not really feeling that pressure yet.
That's all.
I'm really not freaking out yet. I'm sure I will. But I love living in an apartment and with him. It's been awesome.
I actually question whether you're ever going to struggle with it, considering that you worked so much to get through college and you did college. I'm not sure, I bet the hard part's over for you.
Yes, well, and he's been a great support system.
Can I ask you guys a question?
Yes, go for it. I think
you guys are getting married in a year. Have you guys talked about children? This is something that it's a big
that's a great
thing
question.
for me with Julius, and so, I mean, what is your take on that?
Here's my take. I am not going to have children. I do not want children. Kids are all right, but not for me. I'm actually, they are sticky. And I'm not, and I'm actually getting my tubes tied in February. I made that decision.
Let me ask you a question. Have you spoke to a doctor about that?
Yes.
And they've agreed to it?
Yes. And it's
why? Tell
why?
me why. Because
you want to
they
know
won't
why?
let people, unless you've had 2 children or you're of 25 years of age or all these different things. Why?
Story time with Aaron. Okay, so
Yay.
I went to 3 other doctors before someone finally agreed. I don't want to say the doctor's name because I don't want to, that's my medical business. But I finally just lost my freaking mind, and I was like, look, I am a 22-year-old adult. I want to have my tubes tied when I was 11. It's been 10 years. You think I would have changed my mind by now? My biological clock should be ticking, and it's it's quiet. It's so quiet, I cannot even hear it. The alarm is broken. The ticking don't matter.
Kicking until you're 30, I hear.
But
That's not true.
I'm not interested in kids, and I never have been. I didn't even play with baby dolls when I was a kid because I played with stuffed animals because stuffed animals don't talk back.
Right.
I always
Amen.
Yes, I don't want children, and I think it's. And
I
some
think
people
that's your
think
personal right.
Yeah,
Well,
it is my personal right, and I shouldn't have to justify it. Why am I justifying it? No, I don't want kids.
And you
It's a story.
shouldn't have to justify
Right.
that.
But
justify that.
do you think that has anything to do with?
My autism?
Yeah.
Absolutely not. There is a little bit of reason I don't want to pass it on, through my own genetics.
Okay, but how about your own personal, Julius has sensory issues, texture issues, sound issues. That all factors in. Kids are loud, kids are messy, kids are...
And that too, but honestly, even if I didn't have autism, I still don't think I would want children.
Well, my best friend doesn't have any, and she doesn't want any, so...
So, I don't want to say that it's because of my autism, but I'm a career woman, I'm ambitious, and quite frankly, we don't have time for that. And look, and people say, well, what if you change your mind? Oh my God, there's this thing called adoption, where I can go and I can
Well,
get
that's
a kid.
true.
So even if I do change my mind, it's quite frankly, it's no one's business, and they shouldn't try to force it on
Personal
me.
business. It's
Well, I agree 100%. If you've made a choice, you've made a choice.
Absolutely.
I just was wondering for Julius's future of that's if the goal.
How old is Julius again?
He's 5.
Julius don't need to worry about that, right?
I was going to say, I know, I was kidding on that.
You want to know, but you want to know
I'm just
because you want to
curious
be prepared
for how it affects those decisions.
Mm-hmm. And he's completely cool with it. We just want kids together, and that's fine. And that's
And
fine.
Aaron,
What
you're
am I
absolutely
supposed
right.
about
You shouldn't have to defend it. Right? There was a time where I didn't want kids.
Same here.
And there are still sometimes I think
Same here.
maybe I shouldn't have. But you know what? I have him, and I love him, and I wouldn't give him back now. So I totally respect that, and I think that is a larger issue about women's rights. But that's for a whole nother show.
And the thing is I didn't start having kids until I was 22, okay? And I never wanted to have kids. I always told everybody, I'm going to have 2, Spot and Rover. And I wonder if that would have been available to me, because they're obviously making a special consideration.
Nope. Not really. I just told my doctor. I said, "Look, I've been to 3 other doctors. If you think I wouldn't try this hard
It's
just
an
for a
insurance
win,
thing.
yeah, my insurance covers it."
See,
Right
and
on.
normally they'll fight it because they're worried that you're going to come back later having changed your mind and have to have other.
I did tell the insurance people I had autism. My doctor
And I think that helps them decide.
Yeah, and that's what I was like. Look, I'm above 18. I have autism. I've been to 3 other doctors. One approved it. It says you cover it. They're like, what? So, yeah, we're actually great.
Again, I think it's something you shouldn't have to justify, period.
Not at all.
I have friends that are in their 50s.
That don't have children.
That do not have children.
same here.
And
But they have a lot of fun.
They get to travel. They don't have to buy diapers. They don't ever have to clean up vomit from a kid.
And actually, I have a question because I know Jen wanted to ask about how he deals with me, about how this relationship is.
do. Yeah, I would love to hear more about how the relationship works because I have not seen it in person, you know. And,
Right.
And I don't mean to make that like sound
Awkward or anything.
but I'm sure that there are some elements that are different and you have to work with.
And he's going to have to get this in here quick.
Yeah.
Simply put, patience. Lots and lots of patience. You notice I said I work with kids, right?
Oh, yeah.
Patience,
Okay.
patience, patience.
Okay. And that's not to make Aaron sound like a bad person.
No. I'm just
No.
everybody needs patience.
You're right, and we all need more of it.
I feel like autistic people have a higher energy level sometimes than, you know, others. And because of that, it requires other people that are real chill. You seem real chill to have patience, but it works. Look how cute you guys are.
And
well,
you guys, thank you so much. I know we got to get a move on here.
Yeah,
And
we gotta go.
for those of you that have children or adults with autism, look up to Aaron. All right.
Yeah,
There
there's
you go.
hope.
We'll be right back. Real People, Real Life. Welcome back once again, Real People, Real Life, Wichita, Kansas, America. And how awesome is this? You know, we just finished the topic of autism and we had our wonderful friends Erin and her fiance on. And I would like to, welcome Sean.
Thank you.
And pronounce your last name.
Di Giovanni.
Di Giovanni.
Di Giovanni.
No, but
Oh, I like that.
Is that Italian?
A little bit.
I know, right? I like that. But you are with Northwestern Mutual, and you're basically a financial consultant.
Financial advisor, retirement planner.
But the thing I just learned today, which I think is way cool,
Right.
is that you kind of have a special field, if you will,
Yeah.
in helping financial planning with for families that have like a special needs child. And this man has helped you. I'm like,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't even realize how important this is until you started talking, so please.
yeah, we were just chatting earlier, so.
I have triple boys, 14 years old, and one of my sons lives with autism. So I've sat in your seat, and I've sat in her seat. So families with special needs children have a lot of fear. You know, fear of the diagnosis, fear of what 20 years is going to look like, sometimes fear of what tomorrow is going to be like. What tends to happen for our families with special needs children is the things with regards to long-term planning go on the back burner because sometimes it's hard to make it through day to day.
Right.
So my job as a financial planner is to address I like to say, the things that keep you up at night. My job is to rip off the Band-Aid and have hard discussions about Jen's sitting there.
Yeah, like flinching.
I've challenged her before. But really to talk about things that maybe not very much fun to talk about. I mean, if my son is going to live have typical mortality, the thought that our children could be on this planet without us there.
Right. That's scary. It's scary.
Yeah, the fact that my wife and I could be in a assisted living facility, a nursing home, and my son could be in a residential home, so you have 3 people in one family unit that can go through a long-term care event at the same time. Then you throw in the fact that children with special needs who are on benefit can't have more than $2,000 of assets.
Their parents can't either.
It depends on the situation.
What?
Yes.
If it's an adoption,
It doesn't. If your child with special needs is receiving benefit, they can't have any assets. So one of the first things I bring to the table is to really audit what's going on, because a lot of times there's a misinformed, nothing against property and casualty people. People put their life insurance with State Farm or Farmers, and the advisor doesn't really know the ins or outs of the law and benefits, and they say, well, we'll make number one, your minor should never be a beneficiary, but number 2, a minor or a child with special needs, that the parents think they're doing something good. Well, God forbid that child or that parent passed or both parents passed and the child receives those funds, all benefits are lost. So my job, typically when I am introduced to a family with a special needs child, is really just to kind of do some audits. You know, what do you have? Why do you have it? There's no cookie cutter approach to any of it. It's pretty holistic. It depends. I mean, I've got clients who have children with Angelman's, Down, cerebral palsy. You take those numbers and the amount of families out there that are living in fear because of a diagnosis, don't know where to turn, maybe missing case management. The last thing they think about is a guy like me. So I kind of come in, and another thing that drives parents or keeps those topics closed up is the fear of money. You know, what's it cost to talk to Sean? They will typically assume that I'm like an attorney, and I love attorneys, don't get me wrong. I have some very good friends and clients who are attorneys. But when they speak to me that the clock is ticking and an invoice is going to show up, that's not the case. You know, sometimes we can do some small tweaks that incur no cost. Sometimes it'll take years for us to put some things into place. And by me challenging, you know, we need to do this, we need to do this. Doing things for siblings that are typical. If there's a younger brother or sister with special needs, how do we strategize with that in mind? Now, my triplets, my wife and I, we have one son that, both of them are going to be very financially responsible, we hope. So we do strategies now because Sam, who has autism, can't have any dollars. So how do we kind of you can't crystal ball it, you have to look ahead.
And Nova says hi to Sam.
Oh.
I'm supposed to tell you that.
Okay, good.
You know, can you also talk about, as your child kind of ages up, there comes a point where you have to do some, like, legal stuff in order to ensure that they are taken care of past the age of 18?
Sure,
yeah.
Sure. So there's certain steps we put into place. The very beginning would be a letter of intent. Letter of intent being just a simple 4-page form. It goes in the house. If you go into our house, it's on the inside of a cabinet, and it just describes what your son or daughter likes or dislikes. Our children on the spectrum are very particular about things.
Yes.
So if mom and dad didn't make it home, who's going to show up? And here's their guidebook. So first of all, letter of intent. Second of all, within 6 to 8 weeks of 18, guardianship. If you have a high-functioning child that may be on medications, once they turn 18, they don't have to take their meds.
What?
Well, they're 18s. Unless you have guardianship, they can quit going to the doctor. They can choose another doctor. So guardianship protects the parent and the child. And then the use of special needs trusts to house dollars, per se, for those families with special needs children so it doesn't impact benefit. Now, at the end of 2014, Congress put ABLE in.
I wanted to ask you that. I saw that and I want some info.
So ABLE.
What is that?
You're going to ask me what the acronym for. It's about what ABLE is. Are you familiar with 529 plans, Learning Quest? So it's a fund for college education. Well, Congress at the end of 2014 sent to the states, they approved ABLE, which allows families with special needs children to put up to $14,000 aside for their care. Those dollars can be accessed, and they will not jeopardize benefit. Well, the federal government pushed it on the states to do the fine print on it, to work it out. So for the state of Kansas, ABLE goes online in July. The tricky thing about ABLE, though, is that it has to be we have to plan specifically, because if we have a child that's got some mortality issues, some Downs children have some mortality issues, and we're funding ABLE, and then we put those dollars in and that child dies prematurely, any dollars that are left over, they go back to the government as a reimbursement for Medicaid.
I wondered about that. Okay, I'm glad you explained that, because I figured if that wasn't explained properly, that would be one of the first questions that somebody would ask. And you probably have more questions to ask, and I'm not real sure how much time we do have left, but what is the best way for people to get a hold of you?
My office line is 266-5074.
Okay.
I have a wonderful assistant named Chelsea, and her number is 616-1616. She controls my calendar.
Those people are wonderful.
Yes. Just a phone call. Sometimes maybe a 20 or 30-minute phone call. I can answer some questions. I do evening appointments and weekend appointments for my families with special needs children because their lives are hectic.
And he'll come to you.
Yes.
And he came all the way out to Andover for me several times.
Wow.
Until I just finally said, I'm going to come see you. Yeah.
That's awesome. I'm not going to name names, but I know that you're helping some friends of mine you know him. Well, in fact, I think all of us know him. And I would say that you came highly recommended by them as well.
Thank you very much.
You know, but again, I'm not going to say who they are because
Sure.
I respect people.
Confidentiality.
Yeah.
I do. I have too much respect for other folks. So, so Northwestern Mutual and the office is
We're at the
wow.
waterfront, right by just about a block east of Red Robin.
Oh, Red Robin.
In the Hartman Oil Building. So,
Yeah.
And
you know,
the really cool thing about your
friend's
building,
Hartman.
if you have kids who like race cars, there's a race car in the lobby.
yeah, race cars in the
yeah.
lobby.
That's where
Kids will
Dr.
love
Umber
that.
has his office.
Yes, Atlas MD. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Very good.
Yeah, all the cool
That car is
kids
awesome.
are kind of hanging
That's
out
right.
there now. Yeah, it's a fun place to go. Any last questions?
I know we're about out of time, so I just kind of want to throw this out there. When you were helping us, you know, you were talking earlier about the hard questions, and we're talking about he's going to be real with you, and he's going to say, Robin, if you die tomorrow in a car accident, what are we going to do for your kids? How are you going to plan ahead for that? He asked me that. We've gone over it with my mom, who basically I care for, and we've gone over it for both of my kids. And he's helped us figure out ways to save, even before ABLE got put in place. He's helped me figure out ways not to circumnavigate, but to do it legally in the right way.
I mean, this is not something that I think that because I know you, Foster, and I know you, Jen, and you ladies have your hands full.
Yeah.
Okay, with the children that you have currently with autism. But in addition to that, you know, you also have your lives and careers.
And I have other children.
Correct. And you know, so this would, I can't even imagine being in either one of your shoes,
Yeah, I
and
can't
then
imagine
even
being
thinking, you know, about the future financial opportunities. I can see where that would be.
I think the importance is that you take those things and let me worry about it.
Yeah.
You know, you got IEPs. Those, you know, I'm a parent. I get it. So
Yeah.
I sit where you sit. I have the fears you have. I fight the same behaviors as they come and go when puberty arrives, and all these things. So I know how stressful that is. But then the other part, let my team worry about that. And I do a lot of pro bono work. You know, and sometimes parents just want to call and go, "I cannot take it anymore."
And I
go, "I get you."
Yeah.
You know.
Well,
bet you
but see, that's what I think is so cool, you know, and you know, sometimes, you know, things get kind of thrown at us, and we don't always understand, you know, well, what the heck's that all about? You know,
Absolutely.
but for you two ladies, you know, my two friends here, to have children that have autism, and for me to have the opportunity to have met Erin, and who I think is just one of the most adorable people. And now to find out that right here in Wichita, Kansas, we do have somebody that also has a child in this situation who is brilliant enough to realize that
There's this need.
There's a need.
Yeah.
And at least you have the education and the resources to help. I would have never even considered this.
People don't. That's
And they don't know about it. They
Yeah.
don't know there's a need for it.
I had no idea. I'm going to be real honest. Like you said, the day-to-day keeps you so in the moment that you have a harder time to think about, like, okay, you wonder if the future, what it'll bring, but you have a hard time to plan for it. It really.
Sean, I just want to tell you thank you so much. Again, you're at
My
Northwestern
pleasure. Yes.
Mutual. Okay, and say that last name
Di
again.
Giovanni.
Di Giovanni. Oh, I just love it. Okay, and his office number again is 266-5074. Real people, real life. We'll be right back.